Okay, folks, you know, I did forget about the welds. We done that burnout. So, what we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spot welds. That's pretty good. Must be good spot welds. At least the motor didn't lift. You can see in the pictures it was twisting. So, I guess we're just lucky. Lucky. All right. Okay. Also, our V6 GMC engine. I want to show you something on it. Up here on the front passenger side, just like the Chevrolet small blocks. I don't know if you can see that or not, but anyway, it does have 305 right on it. First 3 digits is the cubic inch, so we know it's a 305 for sure. So, at least there's no question. All right. Okay, folks. Decided to go ahead and get the Buick engine up in the air, and we're going to start getting everything off of it. We're going to have to take the flywheel and everything off from the bottom and then come in through the inside to get the bell housing. It's not a problem. This thing's pretty oily and greasy, but they don't mean nothing because it ran good. We couldn't even get it to smoke. So we're going to do a good pressure wash and we'll reseal everything. Valve cover, and then the valve cover on the side. I guess there's 2 valve covers. And maybe we'll call that the lifter cover. But anyway, we'll get it all good and clean and probably paint this thing. But what we're going to do, I'm going to take and make 2 different patterns of the front of the transmissions. I'm going to stick them up here and just see which one I want to use. Which I've still got to get these lengths. I want to get the length all the way and get all of them wrote down. I'll show you that. That's the first thing to do before you even, you know, start tearing everything apart, because you want to know for sure. And we're going to take this cover off the bottom first, that way we can look up in to get our measurements right. And like I said, we're dealing with, you know, within a 1/16 of an inch or something, so it's not an issue to be able to work with that. This I think is the 320 cubic inch engine. We looked the numbers up and pretty sure that's what it ended up being. Smaller one, and which is fine. You know, I don't have an issue with that either. I mean, we're not looking for a powerhouse. If we was, we'd be building twin turbos, 6-liter, you know, LS motors. But it's one thing we're not into, really, is LS motors. You know, it's too easy. The electronics is not, I mean, it's not rocket science. And, you know, you don't have the option of, I guess y'all got the option of tuning on the computer, but you don't have the option of, you know, you can't set your time, and you can't adjust your carburetor, you can't set your points, you know, change your plug gap. A lot of little things that I like to be able to do to make an engine run a particular way, make it run right, or run how I want, or run good, that you can't do on one of them engines. And unless you got a computer, and I'm just, you know, some things you're just too damn old to learn. And I'm not saying physically too old to learn, I just don't want to learn it. So I'm mentally too damn old to learn. So there you go. Alright folks, nice and clean and dry up in here. Not bad at all. Looks like I had a cork gasket around it. Not a lot of room in here. This is not a real long bell housing like that Cadillac engine, so I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue. But anyway, I've never seen a pressure plate that looked like that. So that's going to be something different for sure. But we should be able to get by with, at the most, changing the clutch, changing maybe the pilot bushing, and then doing whatever we need to do to the throw-up bearing to get it to fit our transmission. And basically that's the 3 things, that's it. And as long as our length's right, of course. Okay folks, what we've got here is 3 different transmissions. We've got our S10, which is a 4-cylinder or possibly a 2.8 V6 small spline, 1 inch. Then we've got our Mustang, which has got the older style core spline, same as the Chevrolet. This one is 6 3/4. Of course, we cut it off. This one here is 7 1/8. This one's 7 1/8. Now this is out of a V6, but it's a 3.4 Camaro. But this is, like I said, this is Ford, and this is Chevrolet. If you look, the bolt patterns are the same. Pretty sure it was 93 that they went to this bolt pattern, which is the same as the Ford. and that's what they run on the Chevrolets. This is what I've got in the 31 Roadster. Actually, same transmission, I believe, but it may have had the smaller splines. This one's actually got the big fine spline, which is the V8 style. Now, this actually didn't have a regular throwout bearing. This was what was on it, and this was set up for a hydraulic throwout bearing that went in here and bolted in right here and here. So I took that off. I put a regular one on. We may have to shorten it up if we use this one, but there it is. But I know this transmission's good. I'm taking a chance on this one, but you know, it was in the fire. I don't think it's bad, and I know that one's good. So we've got 3 different transmissions here to take a choice of. The only difference between these two are mainly going to be our spline differences. I know I've got a new clutch for that one. I don't remember whether I've got one for this or not. I know I've got one for that on the back of the 6-cylinder that we pulled out. So we should have a clutch no matter what. The main difference between these transmissions is going to be the shifter location. As you can see, the S10's up farther. The Camaro and the Mustang is toward the back. And this is probably the regular T5, and this is probably a World Class, I'm guessing. They're all Borg Warner, but I think that one's a little newer model. So I'm guessing it's going to be the World Class style. There's some differences between them, but you know, really don't matter. Now we're going to go ahead and finish doing our measurements here, and we'll start taking this thing apart, and we'll see what kind of pressure plate and what size clutch we got. All right. Okay, we're going to start with the longest measurement. So I'm going to take light and make for sure that I am all the way in, and that's all the way in. And we'll mark it with my thumb, and we'll measure it. 7.5 exactly, all the way to the back. Let me write that down. This is going to be to the surface of the pilot bushing. Alright, right here. Six and a quarter, which is good. Alright, get the measurement to where the clutch starts. Lines on the clutch. Four and a half exactly, and that's probably about it because we plan on using the original pressure plate. So I think we'll be good there. And then so now we need to go ahead and start taking it apart. We'll do that by starting, I guess, take the bearing out, take the pressure plate off, start dropping stuff through the bottom. All right. Okay, folks. From what I'm seeing, this is set up different. But what I'm seeing, this is actually the piece that would normally go on the front of the transmission for the throttle burn slide on. I can feel it all the way up through. So I took a snap ring out of here, and I'm going to try to pry this thing out of there. It's got to come out somehow. But that is that's going to be holding everything together if I don't get it out. So let me figure it out. Alright, we can deal with that. We're daggone close. Alright, I think I can probably maybe get the start bearing stuff out now. You know, that Cadillac might have been the same exact way. It was just missing that piece. I've never, you know, dealt with one of these before, but I bet that's what it is. This one here, okay, I see how it slides on. That's a pretty nice setup. Alright, let's get that off and get that out of there. Okay, I think this thing is trying to make its own mind up for me. The the dart bearing. Let's see. Okay, that's 1,400. Wait a minute, 1,375. That's 15 thousandths smaller. So I would have to turn this down 15 thousandths for this to slide over and work perfect. Okay. This one I would have to turn down 80 thousandths. I don't know if I'd want to do that or not. And this one is probably the same as the first one. Yeah, 160. Actually, they're just about gone. It's close, about 15 thousandths, same thing. So this one's starting to look the best out of all of them. But that's pretty thick. We could probably turn it down and not even notice it. It's actually thicker than this one. So anyway, the point is we've already got that issue solved, because that's going to be pretty easy to deal with. So, all right, let's move on. Okay, folks, here's what we've got. Here's our flywheel. Put a mark right here. Sometimes these bolts are offset, sometimes they're not. I just want to put it back where it was. So put a good shiny mark there. It looks like we've got a bearing in there. So we'll check it out. We'll have to get the flywheel off next, and then the bell housing. But here's the clutch. Okay, what we've got is a 10-inch clutch. A little bit of wear on it. Actually more wear than I would want to use. Course spline, same as the Chevrolet, same as the Ford, of this style. So it would fit on there, but I can't use this clutch. But looking through my other clutches, I've got a brand new one here. It's a little old, but it's actually brand new, never been put in nothing. 10-inch, same spline, course spline. So that's going to put us to probably using the Ford transmission. I think that's what I want to do, and we'll just go with it, and shouldn't have any issues there. We can take and turn down, take this off and turn it down. There's plenty of thickness there. If you look at the thickness of it in comparison to the thickness of this one, we should be able to go down with it with no problem. And that'll give us the right size for our dart bearing. And then we're going to probably have to either get a bearing or make a bushing for the back of the crankshaft. And length I can work with on this one. And so anyway, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out from there. One thing we got to do is go ahead and get this bell housing off. We're going to get this center hole bored out to the size we need, and just go from there. So let's get the flywheel off. Okay, folks, so I've got our dial indicated in. Got it clamped down good. It's not going to move. Got the table tight where the table, won't accidentally move it. And now we're ready to put our boring bar in and go to boring it out, get it out to size. Pressure washed it, didn't get it real clean. This grease and oil that's on this thing is just terrible, but sticky and gummy, and but I had to have a chisel to get it off. But anyway, we'll figure it out. But we're going to go to boring this hole out, and we'll go from there. Okay, folks, so we're moving right along with it. I'm going to call it quits for the night. We'll start back on it tomorrow when I get time. And got quite a bit of ways to go yet, but it's looking good. Then we got to figure out what we're going to do on the plate, if we're going to run a plate, or if I'm going to put it, sides on like I did the other one, how I'm going to do it. We're going to figure it out. But I think I pretty much figured out when we use the Ford 5.0 transmission. That way I don't have to buy, any parts, any clutch, anything. So this is going to be just using parts I already have. So we'll just keep at it and, see what happens here. All right. Appreciate everybody watching. Till next time. Bye.